Bagram Air Base, a place of constant motion, a symphony of roaring engines and hurried footsteps. We were CSR, Combat Search and Rescue, always on edge, waiting for the call that would send us hurtling into the heart of danger. Two words hung in the air: Redcon and Tokyo. Redcon meant a medevac, a race against time to evacuate the wounded. Tokyo was immediate, a 15-minute window to get off the ground, no exceptions. Everything stopped. Conversations died mid-sentence. Magazines slapped shut. The air crackled with a sudden electric tension. Tokyo was the only thing that mattered now. We scrambled towards the Tactical Operations Center, our minds racing, adrenaline surging. An Army OH-58 Kiowa helicopter, call sign Pest 55, down in the Alizé Valley. One pilot KIA, one ambulatory. This was my first Tokyo. All those hours in the simulator, all those grueling training exercises, it all came down to this. Excitement coursed through my veins, chasing away any trace of fear. But a nagging doubt lingered in the back of my mind. Could I handle it? Could I live up to the expectations, to the legacy of those who came before me? My flight engineer, Jay Davis, seemed to sense my unease. There's an unspoken weight that comes with wearing the uniform. It's the weight of responsibility, the understanding that lives depend on your actions, on your ability to perform under unimaginable pressure. I looked at my crew, at their faces etched with determination, and I knew I wasn't alone. We were a team, bound by duty, by camaraderie, by something far greater than ourselves. We would face this challenge together, as one. As we prepped the helicopter, the air thrummed with a nervous energy. Zero 4:40 hours. The engines roared to life, shattering the pre-dawn silence. We lifted off into the darkness, the ground falling away beneath us. As we flew towards the Alizé Valley, the first rays of dawn painted the sky in hues of pink and orange. The beauty of the sunrise only heightened the sense of surrealism. The Alizé Valley, a rugged landscape of towering mountains and treacherous valleys, loomed ahead. The Alizé Valley was a treacherous beauty. Jagged peaks clawed at the dawn sky, casting long, ominous shadows across the valley floor. We switched to night vision as the darkness deepened between those towering peaks. Pest 56, the downed helicopter's wingman, was our guardian angel, his voice a lifeline in the darkness. As we approached the crash site, the first hints of dawn began to bleed over the horizon. The crash site materialized out of the gloom, a shattered silhouette against the rising sun. The OH-58 lay on its side, twisted and broken, like a fallen warrior. The surviving pilot was about 200 feet away, on higher ground, his voice a beacon of hope amidst the carnage. Pedro 83, the lead helicopter, would focus on the surviving pilot. We, Pedro 84, would attempt to retrieve the body of the fallen. The tension in the helicopter was palpable as we maneuvered into position. 3, 2, 1, stop forward. Hold your hover. PJs are out the door. I watched as our para-rescue jumpers, the PJs, disappeared into the swirling dust cloud below. My eyes scanned the crash site, searching for any sign of movement, any hint of a threat. Then all hell broke loose. A deafening roar shattered the silence, a storm of bullets ripping through the air. "We're taking fire! Right side! Right side!" Jay Davis's voice was a shriek of alarm. The world dissolved into a maelstrom of noise and violence. Bullets slammed into the helicopter's armor, each impact a hammer blow against our senses. "Go! Go! Get the fuck out of here!" Jay Davis's voice was a desperate plea. The helicopter lurched upwards, pulling away from the crash site, climbing towards a sliver of safety in the sky. We rejoined our lead aircraft, circling above the valley, desperately searching for the enemy. The world below was a confusing tapestry of rock, scrub, and shadow. Then came the words that turned my blood to ice. "I'm hit! I'm bleeding pretty bad!" Jay Davis's voice was weak, strained with pain. A cold dread gripped my stomach. "Guns, how is he?" The pilot's voice, tight with concern, cut through the chaos. Jay Davis was slumped over in his seat, his face pale and drawn. "He's lost a lot of blood. We need to get him to a hospital. Now!" I shouted. The helicopter banked sharply, turning back towards Bagram. Time became meaningless as I worked feverishly to stabilize Jay Davis. His courage fueled my own, a beacon of hope in the face of despair. We would get him home. We had to. The roar of the engines was a deafening symphony, a testament to the urgency of our mission. Every second counted now. Jay Davis's life hung in the balance. 12 minutes out, Gonzo, the pilot shouted. 12 minutes. I found an Israeli bandage in the PJ's medical kit and wrapped it tightly around Jay Davis's leg, but it felt woefully inadequate, a band-aid on a gaping wound. The sprawling expanse of Bagram Air Base materialized out of the haze. We radioed ahead, declaring an emergency. We touched down near the hospital, the rotors kicking up a storm of dust and debris. But there was no ambulance waiting, no medics rushing towards us with a stretcher. We'll take him in ourselves, I said, my voice firm. We were going to get Jay Davis the help he needed, even if it meant carrying him on our own backs. The co-pilot and I carefully extracted Jay Davis from the helicopter. He groaned in pain, his body a dead weight in our arms. We sprinted across the tarmac, the rough concrete biting into our boots. A Marine lieutenant intercepted us halfway to the hospital, his strong arms taking some of the weight off our shoulders. Together, we carried Jay Davis through the doors of the ER. The medical team sprang into action, their faces grim but determined. We left Jay Davis in the capable hands of the medical team, our hearts heavy with worry, the weight of uncertainty pressing down on us. But our minds had to stay focused on the mission ahead. We still had a pilot to recover, a promise to fulfill, and a duty to uphold. There was no time for grief. Not now, not while our brothers in arms were still in danger, their lives hanging in the balance. The adrenaline that had fueled us during the frantic flight back to Bagram was starting to wear off, replaced by a bone-deep exhaustion that seeped into our very souls, and a gnawing fear that refused to be silenced. We were going back into the belly of the beast, back to that valley of death, where every shadow could hide a threat. This time, we were acutely aware of the stakes. We refueled the helicopter, the pungent aroma of jet fuel a strangely comforting scent in that moment of chaos and uncertainty. A quick battle damage assessment revealed numerous bullet holes, a testament to the ferocity of the enemy fire we'd encountered. Each hole told a story of survival and resilience. But the helicopter was still flyable, a testament to the skill and dedication of the mechanics who kept these machines airborne against all odds. We were assigned a new crew member, a young man named Scuba. His face was pale but determined, his eyes reflecting a mix of fear and resolve. He'd been pulled from sleep, thrust into the heart of a firefight, a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of war, where moments of calm could be shattered in an instant. The flight back to the Alizé Valley was a blur of anxiety and grim determination. The sun was higher now, casting a harsh glare over the rugged landscape. The beauty of the mountains seemed obscene, a cruel mockery of the violence that unfolded beneath their gaze. The situation on the ground had escalated. Word of the downed helicopter had spread, and now the entire might of the U.S. military seemed to be converging on the valley. We received reports of A-10s, F-15s, AH-64s, even a CH-47 carrying a quick reaction force. It was a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it was reassuring to know that we had such overwhelming firepower at our disposal. On the other hand, the airspace was becoming increasingly crowded, the fog of war thickening with every passing minute. We made contact with Pedro 83, who had managed to extract the surviving pilot but was forced to withdraw due to heavy battle damage. They were low on fuel, their transmission leaking oil, but they were alive. That in itself was a victory. Section 3. The Valley of Death. We were on our own now. The weight of responsibility pressed down on us, heavy and suffocating. We had a duty to recover the fallen pilot, to bring him home. But the enemy was dug in, their resistance fierce and unrelenting. We attempted multiple approaches to the crash site, each time met with a hail of gunfire. The helicopter shuddered under the onslaught, the air thick with the smell of cordite and fear. We were in the zone now, the red mist descending, our training kicking in. Scuba, our new crew member, performed flawlessly under fire, his fear masked by a calm professionalism that belied his inexperience. He was a quick study, a natural, his courage a testament to the caliber of men we had in our ranks. But the enemy was relentless. They were using the downed helicopter as bait, drawing us into a deadly game of cat and mouse. We were outgunned, outnumbered, and running out of time. The situation was deteriorating rapidly, and we were all acutely aware that this could be our last stand. The sun began its final descent, painting the Alizé Valley in hues of blood orange and bruised purple. The sky seemed to bleed into the horizon, casting long shadows over the rugged terrain. We were running on fumes, both literally and figuratively. The weight of the mission bore heavily on our shoulders, and every step felt like a monumental effort. The relentless pounding of the rotors, the acrid smell of gunpowder, the ever-present threat of enemy fire. It had all taken its toll. Each moment was a test of endurance, a battle against the fatigue that threatened to overwhelm us. We had managed to provide cover for the QRF as they extracted their fallen and secured the perimeter. The operation was a coordinated dance of precision and chaos, each soldier playing their part to ensure the mission's success. The body of the downed pilot, however, remained unrecovered. It was a haunting reminder of the cost of war, a stark symbol of the sacrifices made on the battlefield. The enemy had used his remains as a macabre bargaining chip, a focal point for their resistance. It was a cruel tactic, designed to demoralize us and exploit our sense of duty and honor. It was a bitter pill to swallow, leaving a brother in arms behind, but we were running low on fuel and ammunition. The decision to retreat was not made lightly, but it was a necessary one for our survival. We had given all that we could give that day. Our bodies were spent, our spirits weary, but we knew we had done everything within our power. As we lifted off for the final time, the valley seemed to exhale a sigh of relief, the echoes of gunfire fading into the twilight. The silence that followed was almost deafening, a stark contrast to the chaos we had just endured. The helicopter was battered, its once pristine paint scarred by bullet holes, its interior stained with Jay Davis's blood. Each mark told a story, a testament to the fierce battles we had fought. It felt like a tangible representation of our own exhaustion, our own wounds, both visible and invisible. The physical scars would heal, but the emotional ones would linger long after the mission was over. We returned to Bagram under a sky awash with stars. Those distant points of light, a stark contrast to the darkness that lingered within us. The base was a beacon of safety, but it couldn't erase the memories of what we had endured. We were hailed as heroes, our actions praised, our bravery acknowledged. The ceremonies were filled with pomp and circumstance, a public display of gratitude for our service. But the accolades rang hollow in our ears. The medals and commendations felt like empty gestures, unable to fill the void left by our fallen comrades. We had left a part of ourselves in that valley, a part that we knew we would never get back. The mission had changed us, leaving indelible marks on our souls, and we would carry those scars for the rest of our lives. The days that followed were a blur of debriefings, medical checks, and sleepless nights. The adrenaline that had sustained us during the mission had long since dissipated, leaving in its wake a bone-deep exhaustion and a haunting sense of what if. Jay Davis pulled through surgery, his life saved by a combination of skill, luck, and the quick actions of his crew. He would walk again, but his gait would forever bear the mark of that day in the Alizé Valley, a constant reminder of the price of valor. Scuba, our rookie crew member, returned to his unit a changed man. He had stared death in the face and emerged from the crucible tempered by fire. He carried himself with a quiet confidence now, a maturity that belied his young age. He had earned his place among us, baptized in blood and fire. As for me, I carried my own scars, both physical and emotional. The taste of cordite lingered in my nostrils, a phantom sensation that transported me back to the heart of the battle. The bullet hole in the floor of the helicopter, just inches from where I had been sitting, served as a constant reminder of my own mortality. The ghosts of Alizé followed us home, whispering in our dreams, haunting our waking moments. They were the silent echoes of a battle that had left its mark on our souls, a constant reminder of the price we paid. We carried the weight of that day with us, the memory of the fallen, the knowledge that we had come so close to joining them. Each step we took was heavy with the burden of their sacrifice, a testament to their bravery. We had faced our fears, pushed ourselves beyond our limits, and emerged from the crucible forever changed. The trials we endured had reshaped us, molding us into warriors who understood the true cost of freedom. We had learned the true meaning of brotherhood, the unshakable bond that is forged in the heat of battle. In those moments of peril, we discovered that our strength lay not in our individual might, but in our unity. We had learned that courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. It was in the face of overwhelming odds that we found our true selves, our resolve unbroken. The Alizé Valley had tested us, broken us, and rebuilt us into something stronger, something unbreakable. It was a forge that tempered our spirits, making us resilient and unyielding. We were no longer the same men who had lifted off from Bagram that fateful morning. The valley had transformed us, leaving an indelible mark on our hearts and minds. We were veterans now, marked by fire, forever bound by the shared experience of war. Our stories were etched in the annals of history, our deeds remembered by those who followed. The ghosts of Alizé would always be with us, a constant reminder of the fragility of life, the preciousness of freedom, and the sacrifices made by those who defend it. They were the silent sentinels of our past, guiding us towards a future we vowed to protect. We would honor their memory by living our lives to the fullest, by never forgetting the lessons learned in the crucible of combat. Each day was a gift, a chance to make a difference, to live with purpose and gratitude. The Alizé Valley had taken its toll, but it had also given us a gift. The gift of perspective, the gift of gratitude, and the gift of each other. In the end, we emerged not just as survivors, but as brothers, forever united by the trials we had faced together.